today I'm going to be doing something a little special. I'm going to be doing a double review. We're talking about Figuarts Bruce Lee versus Figma. Now, these two figures are pretty hype, but there's been a lot of criticism from both ends on which figure's better. So you know what I did? I went and got both, and I was like, I'll be the judge and figure out which one's better. And personally, I like them both, but there is one that's better. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide this up into rounds. We're gonna start with round one, and look at that, articulation. I'm gonna start with the Figuarts' head articulation. We've got a chicken neck. It can look up that high, look down that low, tilt side to side. It's got a really nice side to side head tilt. You can even shenanigans. You can be like, girl, who you think you talking to? Or in the case of Bruce Lee, be like, what the? And of course, it can go around 360 degrees. But with the Figma, you've only got just the one Figma joint. So it can look down that far. Can't really go up. Can tilt side to side and go around 360 degrees. On the Figuarts, there's a joint in the torso that allows the shoulder to move back and forth like so. There's a hinge joint that allows the arm to only come up that high. And of course, it can go around 360 degrees. And now on the Figma, we've got a ball joint on the inside of the chest torso area that moves back and forth like so. Can only come up that high and go around 360 degrees. Now, if you can see, they've molded the top part in this really soft plastic and have a piece that goes in like this to try to give it a more natural look, but it kind of gets in the way from time to time, but I've gotten used to it. So yeah, there we go, we've got that. On the Figuarts, you have a swivel right below the shoulder. And on the Figma, you've got a swivel right at the top. It doesn't really go all the way around, it just goes back and forth like so. Figuarts has got that single jointed elbow. Thought it was a double jointed this entire time, but I guess it's only single jointed. But it does go over 90 degrees. As far as the Figma goes, which this is the case with all Figmas, it's only a single joint. And it also goes a little over 90 degrees. I want to talk about the interesting hand peg system they used for this guy, because it's got like this ball jointed thing going on in here, but the way the hand pops off, it's just a little peg in a hole, and you just pop it off and pop it back on. And I really like the way that they did that, because the ball joints can be a bit cumbersome at times and kind of scary. This guy just boop, pop it off, put it back on. There's a nice amount of friction. You can even lift the guy up with it. So yeah, there's that. And with the Figma, they actually went with the old school route. So it's just, you got the little, cut, and then you got a hinge right there. But it goes in and out with just a peg and a hole, but the opposite way. On the Figuarts, you've got the torso go up and down at that point, pop off a little bit from time to time, and go up and down at that point, tilt side to side, and go around for the bodycopter. Figuarts is in space right now, so while it's coming back, let's take a look at this guy's torso. So at the top, you've got the same thing, and at the bottom, you've got that much, so you can get ab crunch going like that, and back like so, tilt side to side, a pretty decent amount, and also go for the bodycopter. Now on the Figuarts, the hip articulation, you got the leg that can come forward that far, go back that far, and kick out to the side only that far, which I thought was a little weird, but it's still a decent amount. It's not a full crotch copter, so you got the little Bruce Lee cartwheels. Now with the Figma, they decided to cut it a little different, which a lot of us guys out there are calling it the diaper. It's got that right there, but the leg can kick up that far, kick back that far, and kick out to the side for a full crotch cutter. Now the Figuarts has the single jointed knee. And also on the Figma, there's the single jointed knee as well. On the Figuarts, you have the nice ankle rockers, but the foot can only point down that far and point up that far. There is a toe hinge though, so that's pretty nice. But on the Figma, you've got full points down for the ballet and be like, and you've got that ankle rocker action. Now that we've looked at that articulation, let's take it to round 2, accessories. The Figuart comes with 1 pair of nunchucks, while the Figma comes with 2. Unfortunately, that's where weapons stop for that guy. Continuing on with the Figuarts, it comes with this awesome bow staff. And last but not least for weapons, it comes with a pair of Eskrima sticks. Eskrima. Round 3, details in non-weapon accessories. For the hands, we've got a pair of split open hands, weapons holding hands. Woo! Hands. The Figuart comes with nice karate choppy chop hands, while the Figma comes with an extra pair of hands to hold the nunchucks with just his thumbs. The Figuart also comes with that awesome signature nose swipe thumb that he likes to do in his movies, and that's pretty awesome. Now let's look at some of these faces.
My nigga, you think it's a game?
So yeah, I went out and I bought both figures, and they're both good figures, but there clearly is the superior one, which is the Figuarts. Now, the issue with this guy right over here is that he came out too late. This guy was supposed to come out a while ago, and they just kind of left it on the back burner. And Bandai was out making their moves, and they were like, oh, guess what? We're making a Bruce Lee. And Good Smile and Max Factory were like, oh, I guess we should probably release ours too. The issue is that since this figure was announced, they have improved a lot on the way that they do things with their articulation on their figures. And so did Figuarts. But this is a newer figure. This is a new mold. This is an old mold from back when Figma hands still used to be like this and only have that limited articulation. Now I can say on the plus side of the Figma, we've got better hip articulation than the Figuarts, but it ended up having a weird mold in this area in order to achieve such things. This guy still has some amazing articulation, better articulation even. And I see what they were going for, because if you look at the chest area, you can see it's actually got a lot more definition. They were trying to do a realistic look to it, and that's why you kind of have that weird gap here if you go back too far, because that's where it's supposed to sit. It looks natural, looks fine. But then you turn this guy around, and you've got this thing going on. And I feel that if they would have just made a new Bruce Lee mold and waited, just scrapped this guy, made a new mold, they probably would have given the Figuarts a nice run for its money. But now you just have this kind of, in most people's eyes, a mediocre figure. But it's not a bad figure. It's like, to me, it's a good figure. I like it. But this guy's better. If you had to choose, I would go with the Figuarts because it's a better mold, a more realistic look to it. And this guy kind of has this animated look, though it is based off of a younger Bruce Lee, when Bruce Lee was cut and toned like this. More towards the end of his life, he started looking like this and having this body shape, and his face looked more like this, which is the Bruce Lee that everyone is familiar with, not so much the younger Bruce Lee. But like I said, both figures are good. Just if you had to choose, just get the Figuarts. You're not really missing too much without getting the Figma, but if you're biased and you prefer the Figma just because it's a Figma, then go ahead and just get the Figma. Or you can just be like me and get both and enjoy the best of both worlds. And that's all I have to say for these guys. And thanks for watching the double review, and I'll see you guys next time. There was one thing I almost forgot to mention. The Figma did come with this stand, because what would a Figma be without its trusty dusty Figma stand? And that's it. Yeah!